I'm the founder and managing editor of SYFYWIRE Fangirls, and I'm really excited that I was asked to do this today because if any of you know about Fangirls, or if you don't, you're gonna get a lesson. It's all about celebrating women in fandom, the stories, the characters, the people that create the stories, and what better way to do that than with the Princess of Power, right? Yeah. Because it's great for everybody to see a strong female character, whether it's animated or live action, and it's even greater when there's a woman that's the showrunner. So let's bring her out here, Noelle Stevenson.
Hey guys. Oh my gosh.
It's like, what do we talk about?
So many. I don't know.
It's like a press conference.
Here, you know.
I know.
As far away as possible.
My peas are popping a lot too, sorry.
All right, I'm gonna go over to this one.
We're just gonna keep moving chairs around. We saw the scene, we're like, where should we sit?
We
Let's
have
just
all of
keep
these
moving.
chairs. It would be a shame not to use them all.
I know. It's like those feel left out. I don't know. They're here to do their job.
Yeah, my emotional support chairs.
I know.
They're helping me.
Don't pay any attention to the woman next to us. She's just the woman behind the curtain. Just make it weirder by pointing out that she's there. It's all fine. This is going great, guys. It's fantastic. This is your first actual panel since the show came out.
It is. This is so cool. This is history in the making. I'm seeing so many amazing cosplayers out here, and I'm like so stoked. This is so exciting. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like how surreal is that to see characters that you spend all this time in a writer's room developing or, you know, going over storyboards, and then you see people wearing.
It's amazing. It's just like, I mean, like, you know, we go through such a process designing these characters, and then it's like, no, but it has to have a crop top. Give us the crop top. And now you guys get to deal with that. Now it's like, cool, crop tops for Comic-Con. It's a look.
And listen, crop tops are very on brand. Like, they're very in style right now,
I
so
made
I'm
a
into
vision
it.
board for Bo to have his crop top. I was like, this is why Bo needs a crop top. Look at all these cool guys in crop tops.
Here's a 26, point presentation. Queer
Why
Eye would
crop tops
approve
are
of the
cool
crop top.
and
Absolutely.
good, and everyone should have one.
I'm with you.
Style icon.
So tell us a little bit about like how you came to be a showrunner. Tell everybody.
So I got started in comics. I wrote and drew my own comic, Nimona. As a oh,
I think they've heard of it.
Guys, you guys are cool. It's like I don't know if they'll
say
this. Yeah. So that's how I got started. I actually went to school to be an illustrator, and then I sort of fell into comics from there, and then started writing comics from there, and then I fell into TV animation from there and started writing for TV. Yeah! You guys are officially the best room ever. Okay, yeah.
You should just stay in here and hang out with us
cool.
all day.
So from there, I got the call that DreamWorks was looking for somebody to develop and pitch She-Ra as a animated show, and I was like, cool. Yeah, let's give this a shot. Let's try and, do my best, reimagine this show in a way that's gonna let it come into to today's audiences in a way that makes sense, in a way that feels natural, and in a way that people can get into today, as well as for nostalgic value. So I did not expect to be, for it to work or to actually get the job that I was going for. I was just like, why not? I mean, I gotta try. And then I got away with it. And now
someone fell for it.
No, I can't believe it. No, I mean, it's been an incredible 3 years. I've been working on it for, I think, about the last 3 years, almost exactly. And it's been my day and night, and I dream about it. I have showrunner dreams where I stop the characters and I give them notes, and then I start the dream again, and and
I would actually watch an episode of that.
I know, it's actually I'll have a
break
nightmare.
the fourth wall with
I'll
the
have a nightmare, and then I'll be like, wait, this could be scarier. Let's change this, and you need to be, and then it's just it stops being scary altogether because it's like, anyway, what I'm saying is that like this show has been just everything that I kind of like live and breathe for the last few years. And so it's so rewarding to come here and to see it, like, you know, to see the characters in the flesh when you guys cosplay them. It's incredible. So it's amazing. It's been
And there's a lot
quite a
of,
ride.
I'm like looking out, and I feel like every time I look, I see another cosplayer
You
dressed
guys,
as a character.
you gotta
from
like.
She-Ra.
Is it weird if I ask
Yeah, stand
everyone
up.
cosplaying
You
as a
guys
She-Ra
stand,
character to,
everybody
like, stand
cosplaying
up?
as She-Ra.
I really want to see
stand
this.
up.
Oh my gosh! Is that Lolita Scorpia? Oh my god! Look at all the glitters! Hi! Oh my gosh! Hello! You look amazing!
I am obsessed
Wow.
with little She-Ra.
Oh my gosh! Oh, there's a light up sword over here. Oh,
So
props for
amazing.
Scorpia. Siak. Thank you guys. You're amazing. This is the best day of my life.
You guys all look amazing, but I'm so obsessed with like mini She-Ra. And one of the things, yeah, like lift her up again. One of the things I love the most is she holds that sword up like, yes,
Oh my gosh.
I am the princess of power. Like so much confidence. And I love that because I love that characters like this can do that for people.
Yeah.
You know, and I know everybody's like, oh, it's just science fiction or it's just fantasy, it's just a comic book. It's not, because look at how much it resonates with people. And it's just so, like, what's it like to know that you're creating something that's connecting and hitting people so personally in a way that matters so much to them?
I mean, it's what we set out to do, honestly. It's you, especially for those of us who grew up as fans of these sorts of stories to begin with, it's, you get used to it very quickly that there's not necessarily content that's being made with you in mind. And so you learn to love it anyway. You learn to love the characters and the world that's being shown through usually a very limited point of view. But I always really hungered after stories like this. I really wanted to see women fighting and trying and failing and succeeding and having the breadth of emotion and of the complexity of character that the male characters had. And so that was something that I have always been passionate about. And when it came to this show, it was, you know, the perfect moment that it was this show that the 80s version already, it had like this incredible, like, huge cast of female characters, and it was like inheriting this box of amazing toys of just like, I get to play with all of these, like this is amazing. And so the opportunity to be able to bring the story that I've always kind of hungered after to life is just such a privilege and such an honor.
So I want to get like an idea, because I'm just thinking about this as she's talking. How many people in the audience right now feel like by watching this cartoon feel seen because of what you see? Wait, I gotta hear more than that. Like, and how many men that are fans of this cartoon, like that just said that weird, so I was gonna say comic, whatever, it's totally fine. At least I didn't mess up like before. But how many guys that are watching love seeing these like really well thought out female characters? Like you love seeing powerful women. Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I should be like, should I ask you for your autograph? Is this like weird?
I mean,
we've been hanging out all morning, like.
$50.
All right, well, whatever. Be like that. And to think, we were just gonna come up here and talk
thanks.
about iguanas, but it's fine.
Yeah. I
If
forgot
you
iguana fact.
caught this
I don't know anything
morning,
about iguanas.
there's like a weird thing going on.
Yeah.
Yes, an iguana.
Inside
apparently.
jokes.
So, so what's the reaction? I mean, obviously we see everybody here loves it. What's the reaction been like, and what's it been like taking that in?
I mean, I think I'm still kind of like, when something like this happens, when you have the privilege and the opportunity to be in a position like this, to tell a story like this, and have creative control over something like this, it's kind of indescribable, and I don't think that it's truly even really sunk in yet, honestly. I think that I'm still just kind of like waiting for the moment when I'm like, okay, yeah, this is happening, this is real. And I don't know that that's fully hit me yet, because it's incredible. It's such a profound experience. I'm also like popping like,
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
I'm just sorry, guys.
Sorry.
So it's the amazement never goes away. It's amazing to kind of show up and see a room like this and see all of you people. it's been an incredible outpouring of love and excitement and enthusiasm. And I've already seen so much of people, exercising their own creativity and creating amazing fan art and cosplay and all of that. And it's been so incredible to see. So it's been pretty awesome.
I mean, it sounds pretty awesome, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, it just sounds like, and anytime like I've talked to any creators about the thing that they're making, they always say like when they're putting a piece of themselves into their art. Like,
Oh, yeah.
So it's like when you guys go up and you tell them how much something resonates with them, it's almost like you're saying how validated you feel because something reminds you of your life, but they're also feeling it too because you're validating them.
Yeah.
But like you're having like that shared experience, shared moment.
Yeah, it's so rewarding to just be like, oh, we really wanted to do this with this character, with this arc, and to see people like pick up on it and like roll with it. And
Yeah, it's like they get the
they are
joke, yeah.
getting it. They're picking up what we're laying down. Like it's so exciting and so validating. To see.
Yeah. What's been your favorite fan moment? Besides this, obvi.
The cosplayers dressed as She-Ra and Catra in the proposal. That was really something. That was really amazing. There were cosplayers, one dressed as She-Ra and one as Catra. They were at a convention, and one proposed to the other, so they got engaged in costume.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah.
That's so sweet. Like you're forever. Wait, what did you say? I really hope they stayed married because I was gonna say you're gonna be forever a part of their relationship, and so I hope it works forever. Otherwise, that might not be your favorite fan moment anymore. But
oh, don't put out those vibes.
I mean, it's gonna work. I'm kidding. I saw also that Catra in a suit is apparently like people are super into it. Yeah, there's something about a woman rocking a power suit. Right? It just takes it up a notch.
It was so great. I mean, the opportunity for the Prime episode to have all the characters just really, with the exception of Adora, who I don't think really knew what was going on, have all the characters express their personal style in that episode. I know, especially when as a young person, especially as a teenager in high school, when it comes to formal events like that, like being like, what is it okay for me to wear, and being able to show all the characters just wearing exactly what they wanted was, it was really fun for us.
No, it's really powerful to do it in that setting too, because like you said, like when you're a teenager, what am I okay to wear? And sometimes like what you're expected to wear to those like formal events doesn't really align with who you are.
Oh, I still deal with that all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell.
Oh, no, I mean, I'm awesome, but... Yeah.
No, I know. We know, right?
What are we talking about?
Well, why don't we actually take a look back at season 1?
Yeah.
And you brought some footage, so why don't you cue up what you've brought?
Let's see our favorite moments from season 1.
So I love how you guys were audibly, aww, and then like cheering. That's so cute.
Yeah.
Were those awes, did you feel awe in your heart?
Yeah, always.
Okay, I just want to make sure you guys were aligned here. Because it'd really be awkward if not. What were some of your standout moments from the first season?
Oh boy. There were a lot of, I think my two favorite episodes that I'm really pleased with also seem to have been the standout episodes from our first season was the prom episode and the promise, the flashback episodes. So those were two that we sort of, they were a little experimental in some ways. The prom episode, I used to pitch the show with, I'm like, and then they all go to prom, ha ha ha. And the executives would be like, ha ha, you're funny. And then eventually they're like, oh, you were serious? I was like, yes, we're going to prom. So the opportunity to actually be able to do that, and it is this, kind of turning point episode for the season of where we actually up the stakes a little bit. But it's also just such a fun episode. I'm really pleased with how it came out. Everyone just brought their best work to that episode, to the show in general. And then, the promise episode is particularly close to my heart. It's a very kind of personal episode that was really, it was challenging to create because it's so sort of conceptual, but I'm really pleased with how it came out, and I love the opportunity to just kind of like isolate one or two characters and just kind of get to the core of who they are. So the ability to do that in the show was really, really fun and really fulfilling.
How many instances, because I know we were talking a little bit backstage, besides researching Iguanavax, and we actually were researching Iguanavax.
I looked it up, I didn't read it.
Yeah, and we didn't have time.
Right, we did it.
But how many, we were talking a bit about, you were talking about a certain outfit choice.
Mm-hmm.
So how many instances would you say, or how often did it come up where you would like float a thing out there and then everybody would be like, ha ha ha, and you're like, no, but really, this is happening?
Oh, that happened a lot, yeah. I think they always thought that I was like joking until I wasn't. Yeah, a lot of it was just like, this is kind of weird, let's go for it, just the opportunity to try and do something a little different and just put something out there that that felt kind of cool and new and fun. So, yeah, they were all really supportive and, let us try some stuff. And it's something that, it's one of my favorite things to do on the show in general. There are a few episodes coming up in the next drop that are also, experimental. We try some stuff, so I'm excited for people to see those.
Is there anything that was too weird for you to get to do? I don't believe that you couldn't be too weird.
I felt like every time there was someone like, I have a weird idea, I'd be like, that's weird. Okay, let's do it. So
you're like, I'm listening.
I can't think of one right now. I don't know if that means it didn't happen. Yeah, it has to be in a year.
Okay, that's fair enough. How did you approach Adora and Catra's arcs in these initial episodes?
The relationship between Adora and Catra really defines the arc of the first season, but also kind of the arc of the show in general. They're two characters who start on the same side, very close, and then through the events that happen, some of it is their choice and some is not. They become on opposite sides, and we see their relationship evolve into one of being hero and villain. And the way that they both deal with those roles, sort of what is being given to them, what they're being sort of forced into by the events of the show, and how they choose to deal with that themselves. And so I think that's always what, I think it's always been kind of the heart of the show, is just kind of how these two characters relate to each other and to themselves and their own role, and what they choose to do with that. So it was something that I was especially really excited to explore, especially in the first season.
Yeah, I've seen that you've mentioned in other interviews that you kind of compared their dynamic to Batman and Joker, and how there's a little bit of the other in each of them. What are maybe some other, if there were other notable or known duos like that of hero and enemy or villain? that maybe you drew from inspiration-wise?
Yeah, I mean, I've always sort of gravitated towards that dynamic. There is, I've always been very interested in villains, especially, and sort of what sets them apart from the heroes, and like what those labels mean to begin with. So I think I've always really, especially in superhero comics, like really been interested. I think it's less of like Batman and Joker, and a little bit more like, man, I don't even really know. I'm totally blanking right now, but I think the best hero and villain relationships are when they have a very meaningful connection to each other. They're not just fighting just because that's their job and that's what they do. It's because it means something to them. And so that was something that I was really excited to explore in the show.
So let's talk about Catra and Scorpia.
Yeah.
Because that's a dynamic. Oh, you guys like that one, don't you? I just got totally lost my train of thought. So that's the dynamic between the two is hilarious, but it's also like a little heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to make Scorpia such a hugger?
Because she's just so cute. I mean, come on. It's so great. I mean, Scorpia is, definitely a fan favorite character for the crew. She is just so, you see her and you immediately are like, okay, cool. She's like the tough, muscle character. And then she immediately is just all about hugs and love. And she's just so sweet, and she's very loyal. I mean, we see moments in the first season where she'll fight against the heroes, and it can be scary, but she's always doing it out of like loyalty and love for her friends. So I think in so many ways, it's just like I love to explore the relationship between her and Catra, where she's just sort of like, she really, like, Catra has put up these walls after Adora left, and Scorpia is so determined to break through those walls and just have this relationship with Catra, and Catra is like closed off to it, even though, you know, that's also something that like she needs, that that kind of affection and that friendship. So it's something that like we're definitely going to see more of in the next season, and I'm really excited for people to see.
I think also just the way you describe that, like the whole dynamic of female friendships, especially when you're in that younger, those teen years, because those are a hot mess. Which we all know. And friendships do seem to kind of like go back and forth. Like one minute you're best friends with someone, and the next minute you guys don't want to acknowledge each other. And then like, it's just such a weird time.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in the show too. I feel like our characters are so driven by emotions that it's like so much of what means that you're on the, I think that He-Man and She-Ra have always kind of been like this. Like, it's always been as much about the villains as it was the heroes. Some of my favorite episodes of the original She-Ra are the ones where we just stay in the fright zone. And it's just like the whole conflict will just be like, Imp is bothering Catra, so they all chase him around for an episode. And like, and it's just like, they don't get anything done. And Hordak is like, are you gonna help me try and like conquer Etheria? And they're like, but we have to chase this blue demon around. And it's like, you know, like we care about them and we love them as much as we do the heroes. And like, it almost becomes that their allegiance is like, it becomes more about the character's feelings and the character's emotions. And so that drives them to make a lot of the decisions that they make. And we get a lot more into that in the next season too. Even some characters that like, you know, you wouldn't think would have that other softer side, they do.
And a lot of people I've noticed too, would comment on, and I read like a lot of stuff that people post on the boards and the forums and whatnot, and just on the internet, because everything on the internet's always a fantastic journey. But I did find mostly good stuff, and but a lot of people did mention how even with like the bad guys on the show, they still kind of were cheering and rooting for them sometimes, even though like they're the bad guys.
Yeah. I mean, that's the goal of the show, I think, to really question the division between good and evil and just what that means. So it's something that we explore every episode, every season, throughout the whole show.
So if you had to pick, I'm going to be putting you in an awkward position right now.
Oh boy, I can't wait. Love it.
Now I'm going to like find 3 more questions like this.
Wow.
Okay. If you had to pick a favorite episode, which you have to, so
okay,
which would it be?
Of like all of them or the ones that have come out?
Well, that's not fair.
That's not too much.
Okay, so let's do one where it's fair for them, because they'll know what you're talking about. And then let's pique their interest.
Okay.
And mention one that's not out yet.
Oh, okay. Oh, jeez. It's hard. I have to
Need, like,
say,
that Jeopardy music.
Yeah, Promise is really close to my heart. That one is just and even the process of making it, it was like, you know, our incredible board artist, our incredible director and editor. It became like such a passion project for everybody, and we were working so closely together to kind of execute this that it was like, I definitely in the first season, it's my favorite episode. So it was a really fun and challenging process to make it, but I think it really paid off. So in the whole show. I can't. No.
I feel like that means that there's some really epic stuff coming up, and you just don't want to say anything to ruin it.
No, there is. That's the
Cool. Aren't you guys glad you have to wait
I
so
know.
long to see it?
Isn't it great? Just answer questions.
All right. Which character is your favorite character?
Oh no, you can't ask me that.
I just did.
No,
I just did. Yep. This is like parents picking a favorite. Because every parent says you're all my favorite. That's a lie. We all know it's a lie.
Parents don't get to literally create like the personalities of their children. So
yeah, I mean they do technically create, you know.
One of the upsides of having a show is that every character gets to be your favorite character. You actually get to like populate a show with your favorite characers. So,
okay,
I mean, it
that's
really
a good
is.
answer.
Yeah. So now Scorpia won't get angry at me for not.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna actually go outside the box a little bit here. I think one character that I'm excited for people to see more of is Mara, the former She-Ra. So, yeah, she's very close to my heart.
They seem to agree. They're into that. How much, like, because I know even though this is a property that these characters all existed before, and you did say, like, with writing The Promise, it was a very personal episode for you. How much of yourself do you see in all these characters, or even people you know? Are you ever like, kind of like, oh, this thing happened and it reminds me of this person, and let's put this in here?
Yeah. I mean, I think everything, the way I write in particular is pulled a lot from personal feelings or, you know, based on people that I know or relationships that I observe. And I think everyone on the crew has sort of, a lot of what made some of the characters come alive was people on the crew putting parts of themselves into the characters. So whether that was the actors or the board artists or the designers, people who were like, I see myself in this character, I kind of want to see them do this. That was something that we tried to always have that dialogue. And I think it really like made some of these characters come alive. For me especially, I think I'm sort of, I relate a lot to three characters, actually, somewhere in between all of them, which are Adora, Catra, and Glimmer. All of them are sort of characters who are dealing with being a leader for the first time, or trying to be a leader, trying to be, you know, the person that they want to be or they want to be perceived as, and they all kind of wrestle with the dark and the light within themselves. So I think between those three characters, I relate a lot to them.
Okay, I like that answer. We can keep it.
Okay, well, cool, thanks.
I accept.
All right.
You guys did a really great job of like balancing drama and comedy throughout this first season. So are we going to see more of that next season? And can you tell us what to expect at all?
Yeah.
The goods.
There's a lot of really fun stuff next episode. There are a lot of fun episodes next season, which I'm really excited for. I think we always try and keep the darkness and the comedy in balance, because I mean, sometimes it makes those like, you know, like Princess Prom. It's such a fun episode, and then it ends on such a kind of like heartbreaking moment. There are a lot of episodes like that, where it's like we've had a lot of fun today, but it's time for someone to die. I mean, just kidding. No one died.
Sounds so happy. Because you know, why not?
But yeah, it's actually, yeah, so we have some really fun episodes coming up. There's some really heartbreaking stuff coming up as well, and we just always try to keep those in balance because I think it makes the comedy a little bit more fun, and it makes the heartbreaking stuff a little bit more heartbreaking. If it's just, you know, always one or the other, I don't think you get those highs and lows quite as much.
Should we tell them when No.
What are we?
No, I mean, I don't know. They don't want to know. I think I like. Do you guys want to know when season 2 is coming out?
Oh yeah. Oh, that would help. Wait, you know when season 2 is coming out, right? Yeah.
April 26th. Okay.
Right. Oh, you want me to do this?
Do you want to tell them how many episodes?
All right. So next season is going to be 7 episodes, but that means that we get to bring you seasons closer together. So you're going to be getting more. You're going to be getting the same episodes over the same amount of time, but in smaller chunks. So they'll be coming to you a little bit closer together. But yeah, the next season is 7 episodes.
Do we want to? Yeah, you can cheer for that. You can be happy.
Exciting.
It's okay.
Excited.
It's still good. It's all right. Do we want to give them any more little hints about season 2?
Okay.
We'll get to fan questions later.
Oh, okay. Hang on.
You see, she lost her train of thought.
No. I'm thinking. I'm trying to think of something like quippy.
Okay.
Like Dungeons, Dragons, Dads, and drive-ins,
And death?
dives. Some death, no death. Some death?
No.
Yeah.
All right then.
That's all you get. I'll think of something.
Does anybody want to see some footage from season 2?
Whoa. pretty cool.
Is this the first time you've been in a room full of people watching them real time react?
This is, and it didn't occur to me that that was going to happen until it was happening, and I was like, oh no. But then I was like, yeah, you guys are awesome. So, yeah.
What was that like, though? Like,
I mean,
we were
great,
super
yeah.
into it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, as you can see, there's like a lot of the dynamics are gonna be evolving in the next season. So we're gonna start playing up, you know, there's like Frosta gets to be a part of the Princess Alliance in a way where we actually start to see more of her personality. And, you know, the Adora and Catra relationship continues to evolve in this
You guys
season.
love Adora and Catra. I totally couldn't tell.
Yeah, so in this season, Adora she's sort of shaken after, the way that things have gone with Catra after, you know, the events of the Battle of Bright Moon. She's very distracted by Catra. She's very, she's sort of in her own head about it. And Catra, on the other hand, is she's moving up the ranks at the Horde, so she's trying to, become this, she's trying to, play the part of the big bad villain more than ever before, which is Adora doesn't understand and is trying to process, I think, at this point. So it's a little bit of the reversal of their dynamic from the last season, where Catra was very focused on Adora, and Adora was, you know, trying to figure out how to be a hero, and now it's almost been a reversal of that.
Whose idea was it to make her sword turn into a mug?
I mean, all right, so original She-Ra in the 80s, she would turn her sword into all kinds of stuff, and it was awesome. And some of it didn't make any sense. She'd be like, my sword is now handcuffed, so I can handcuff a villain. And then it's well, they could just run away with your sword. That's not gonna work. But then it's like one of them, my favorite one is it turns into a scuba helmet, so she can go scuba diving. And it was of course she has a shape-shifting sword. We want her to be able to use it for all these different things. But Adora is still just learning how to be She-Ra, and so she can't control it all the time. So it turns into like an umbrella and a vase and
a recorder.
Yeah, a flute. So, you know, it's fun. It's fun. We have fun with that.
Do you think we have some time to take some audience questions?
Oh, okay.
You guys want to do that?
Sure. Let's do it.
You can go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for coming to Seattle.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Seattle.
Yeah. My question is, which character had the easiest decision for a voice actor to cast, and which was the hardest voice actor to cast?
Oh boy. I think so Scorpia, when we were casting her, we got the read from Lauren Ash, and I actually had been a fan of her. She had been in this show called Super Fun Night, and her character had a coming out story in that show that was really important to me at the time. And so when she read for Scorpia, I was like, oh my God, it's her. Oh my God. And it was perfect, and it fit the character so well. And so it was I mean, I think that was it was such a natural fit, and it made the character really come alive. So I think so much of that character came from her. Hardest, I don't know how to, wow. I mean, I think that all the actors, it's just you know, some of them, you know, Marcus, for example, who voices Bo, when he walked in and I saw him and I was just that's Bo, that's Bo, that's Bo, that's Bo, that's Bo, that's Bo, that's Bo. Don't look away. It doesn't matter what he looks like, it's just what he sounds like. And then he goes and does the line. I'm like, that's Bo, that's Bo, that's Bo, that's Bo. You know, it's just I think that you always know when that character comes and it's just it brings some part of that character alive that you didn't even maybe think about. You're just of course that's what they sound like, because that's them. And it feels like when you get the right actor, you feel like it's always been them. And I think that happened with every single character that we've ever cast. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much for coming to Emerald City Comicon. And so you obviously made very significant stylistic changes just to the outfits from the original to the new. And I noticed that they seem much more approachable, especially from a cosplay point of view. Did that influence any of your stylistic choices? And you have so many different ways of dressing it. Are you trying, what was the thought process behind that?
Yeah, I think it's interesting to compare it to cosplay. Not that that was necessarily like, oh, we want to make it cosplayable, although I think in a different way, the idea of like, how are the kids watching this and all the people of all ages watching it, how did they want to dress, you know? Like, when I think back to the stuff that I wore as kids, so I don't know if you remember, like, but when Disney princesses, they would sell costumes for those princesses, and at the time, it's like, if you wanted to dress as the Little Mermaid, you can't have a kid going around in what she actually wears most of the time. So they would sell these almost like silk pajamas with a picture of the princess on it, and I loved wearing those things, you know. But I was always like, why do we have to change what the princesses wear so that children can dress up as them? Wouldn't it be better for the characters to wear something that is really aspirational and something that kids can really see themselves in? So when designing the characters, there was a lot of like, well, what would it feel really cool to imagine yourself wearing as a kid? When you're watching this and you're like, you know, wow, She-Ra has these like really cool like sneaker boots on. Like that's something that like, I want to go trick-or-treating in that. I want to run around and pretend to be wearing that. So it was something that we thought about, of just like, we wanted the characters to feel very free and like they were expressing their personalities and not be too bogged down in, you know, trying to make their designs appeal to any specific group, but making sure that the characters felt like they were expressing themselves in an honest way and that children could see themselves in those characters. That was a lot of what we were going for.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
I want to run around trick-or-treating in sneaker boots.
Yeah, I know, me too. That's what I'm going to do this year. Just, you know,
Same.
trick or treat.
Sorry. Yeah.
So when you were working on Nimona, you had complete control over every aspect of the process. What was it like going from that to this collaborative process of running a show?
It's really fun, honestly. I really enjoy, it's a challenge. You do have to check certain boxes. You have to get the execs on your side. You have to get your crew to understand the picture that you're painting and get into it with you. And so the challenges of that have been honestly very rewarding because it is like, again, like I said, I mentioned earlier, every single person who touches this property, they changed it in some way. They bring a part of themselves to it. And so the opportunity to kind of see like when we record an actor, when we design a character, when we, you know, board an episode, create an animatic, when we ship it off to be animated, every single person who touches it makes it come alive in some way, and we all get to live in this world together. So I think that the challenges of it, there have been many challenges, but I think it's created something that's really special and has become more than what I could do on my own. And so that's been both a really big learning curve and also something that's been really rewarding.
Cool, thank you.
I'm too short for this. Hi. So first, I just wanted to thank you just for making the show and helping make it to be everything that it is, because it really is amazing just to watch on a daily basis. Second of all, my actual question is, if you were a princess in She-Ra, what would you be the princess of, or what would your power be?
Oh, man. Iguanas.
Yeah.
Nice callback. I like that. Yeah. I have to say, like, I've always really wanted Glimmer's powers. It just seems like really fun to be able to teleport. But I would also love the power of shape-shifting. So yeah, I don't know if that's like, I don't know if I'd be the princess of like an element. I'd just be like the princess of dressing up, I guess. Like, disguises.
All right, let's ask this. Who is going to be the first to ditch the horde? Tell them to kiss it, and kiss it. Catra, Scorpia, Entrapta, or all three at the same time. The Sean Connery voice works better with S's. And what's it gonna be like when Entrapta and the Alliance finds out the real story behind what's going on between each other?
When they find out what happened to Entrapta, is that the question?
Yes.
You're gonna see the answer to that this season, but I don't want to spoil it. So yeah, I think Entrapta is she's a really, really fun character to write. She's very instrumental to the story, and her arc this season is gonna enter some new territory. So
And let me guess, it's gonna involve involve all three ditching the horde, with Catra having the most obvious reason for ditching the horde?
Just wait. We have a lot of episodes still coming at you, and there's a lot of ground to cover in those. So just tune in, and yeah.
So no idea on who's gonna ditch. So you can't say anything about who's gonna ditch the horde first.
I cannot say anything about that.
Thank you.
Hi. Speaking of inserting yourself into kind of the characters and the way the show runs, I really appreciate that LGBT representation that's part of the show.
Yeah, definitely cheer for that.
It's both in times obvious and sometimes a little bit more subtle. How important is it to you and the cast and crew to kind of continue that development and kind of show that for maybe younger people who need it?
It's really important to me. It's something that I think is an intrinsic part of the show, and the world that we're creating and the story we're trying to tell is it's something that we really want to be at the heart of the show and so interwoven into the fabric of the show that it can't be extracted. And so honestly, it's always a fight, it's always a risk to try and tell these stories, but I think it's so important. Every single piece of media that achieves some part of that, it makes it a little bit easier for the next one. And so that is something that I feel very grateful and very honored to have been able to do. And I'm really proud of some of the stories and some of the characters that we've gotten to feature in the show. So I'm really excited for you to see those. Yeah, there's more.
Awesome, thank you.
I just want to say something that I really think it's so amazing that you are able to be so confident and so vocal for the LGBT community, because it's so needed, and you don't see a lot of showrunners, and I know even a few years ago you just didn't see that very often. So I think that's amazing, and I think that's also amazing how all of you vocalize how important that is. Never stop doing that. I just want to say that. Never ever stop saying you need this, you want this. Never stop supporting creators that are putting stuff out there that is inclusive and diverse, and it's really showing the world as it is, because again, it's not just a cartoon. It really makes a difference. If it makes a difference to all of you, think about all the people who never show up to a Comic-Con, who are sitting home watching this, and they're afraid to say how much that means to them. So keep speaking for all those people, because it's amazing. So I just want to say that. Sorry, you can ask your question.
It's fine. I watched the show with my little sister who's 9, and it's great to have a show that represents so many different kinds of women and men that I don't have to sit down with her and be like, okay, you don't have to be this person, you can idealize them, whatever, but you don't have to be them. And I feel like there is so many characters that are who she can be and who she wants to be, and I think that is amazing. So, but my question is, did you ever feel like when you were developing the characters that you were limited by the original series, like with the names or the particular designs?
Well, when it comes to the names, yeah. Yes, we have a sorceress named Castaspella, and it's just, that's normal, and we're gonna roll with it.
So amazing, though. That's so
yeah, I know. I mean,
amazing.
It's part of it. It's just I don't want to change that. I mean, yeah. I feel like when it came to, there are limits. We are creating a show that is following in the footsteps of a show that came out in the 80s, and a show that I think that for the time that it came out was really groundbreaking. There weren't a lot of action shows that featured female casts like that, but it was still a product of its time in some ways. So we try to take that legacy farther, as far as we can, but we are still creating a show that is in the that is following in the footsteps of that original show, that is still that property. So there are times when, we don't, we are limited by what we can do. But ultimately, I think it has also given us a really rich property to explore and to play with and to flesh out. So a lot of times I don't really feel, or I forget even that that we're making a reboot, because it feels like, you know, we're creating something that feels really honest and that feels really alive, and that these characters feel true to who they are in our show. So I guess yes and no. There are some challenges, but then there are also just a lot of opportunities to explore things that the original show set up.
Awesome. Thank you.
So we have time for one more question. No, I know, but someone else needs their own.
I would like to thank you for making the show that I really needed as a child. Like, being able to see these romantic relationships bloom between all these female characters, just like, for so many kids, it's gonna like cement the idea that like, oh, it's an option. Like, oh, don't have to like Brandon, I can like Jessica, but
Brandon and Jessica.
Brandon and Jessica. But my question is, are we gonna learn more about Entrapta's backstory, and specifically about Emily and why she said Emily in that way in that one episode?
Oh man, you guys are not ready for Entrapta.
I'm ready.
Just the. She is such a fun and interesting character. She's so much fun to write. Again, another crew fan favorite. She is someone who's just so fully herself, and I think that she has this connection to robots in a way that just like, you know, she sees the humanity in robots, and yeah, there's a. I don't want to spoil anything, but we're definitely going to get into some, we're going to explore her arc further, and how she sees the world, and she just keeps making robots.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you so much.
You guys are an amazing
And make
crowd.
sure on your way out, there's a free season 2 poster for you, so make sure you grab that.